Man, Marvin Mims just got some fantastic news today because the NFL owners meeting brought on a couple of rule changes, and one of those rule changes is just what Mims wanted to hear. So, teams now, amongst 5 different rule changes that were brought out there, are permitted to speak to players during the legal tampering period. That's not the rule change I'm talking about for Marvin Mims. It's this next rule change that I want to discuss, which is kickoffs that are ruled a touchback, whether that goes out the back of the end zone or the player takes a knee in the end zone. That ball will be placed on the 35-yard line. So start to think a few steps down the line now. If the ball, which previously last year went out to the 30 from a touchback, now goes to the 35, that is going to incentivize teams to kick it short of the end zone, thus creating more kick returns, which is what the league wants. And kick returners are not grinning. They are wagging their tail at this because 2-time Pro Bowler Marvin Mims is going to get more opportunities now to return kicks for touchdowns, which he's already done once in his very young NFL career. So any team with an awesome return man that has unfortunately just been stuck on the sideline in a box in a corner because the ball just gets kicked out the back of the end zone and they never get to use this weapon, they are enthusiastically celebrating this rule change because we're going to see more returns from Mims. That's going to bring on just more entertainment for starters, but also I think just better starting field position for the Broncos as well because Mims last year had a bunch of great returns, whether it was kick or punt returns at times, but specifically kick returns. Now, on the flip side, Denver also has to counter in how does this impact their kickoffs? Because what I looked at was this really informative heat map, which shows the 16 AFC teams and where the kickoffs went when they were kicking. And you can see the Broncos, bottom right-ish, are towards the back of the pack. So the Texans, amongst all AFC teams, led the conference in kickoffs that did not reach the end zone. They were baiting and testing teams to return kicks more than, say, the Colts. When you look at their heat map, the Colts just blasted the ball out the back of the end zone and just gave the opposing team 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line. The Broncos were closer to the Colts than the Texans. So I expect Darren Rizzi to adjust the way Denver operates on kickoffs now because I don't think they want to give the ball to the other team at the 35. I think they want the other team to earn the 35, right? They want to put their 11 guys on kickoff out there and say, get to the 36. We challenge you to outdo us. Because previously, last year, when the ball was kicked in the field of play, in the landing zone, the 20 to the 0, the average kick return did not get past the 35-yard line. So this is, I think, a great win for all special teams players and coordinators because it brings more value to kick returns. And that part of the game was starting to die off. And as a result, return specialists and special teams coordinators, they didn't really have a lot of opportunities to flex their muscles. Now, Marvin Mims will have almost, I would say, endless because you don't want the other team kicking off too many times, but he's going to have more opportunities than before to flex his muscles and showcase his return abilities because teams are not just going to boot it out the back of the end zone. They're going to try and see if Mims can get past the 35, which he won't every time. He may not do it majority of the time, but he has shown an ability to really flip the field position over and get Bo Nix excellent starting 1st and 10 position. So, looking over some of the kick return stats from 2024, the first year of that brand new kickoff rule change, 11% increase from 2023 to 2024 in kick return rate, going all the way up to 32.8%. There were 59 returns of 40-plus yards. If that 59, or let's just say if the kickoff return rate increases from 33 to, let's do 40%, right? It went up 11% last time. Let's say it goes up 7% this time. If it goes up 7%, give or take, that 59 is going to go up probably to closer to 70-ish, right? And I think Marvin Mims is going to have a huge piece of that 70 return pie of 40-plus yards. So sign me up for more great field position for Bo Nix and company on 1st and 10. If you are excited, though, for a Marvin Mims breakout season, which we started to get shades of that towards the end of 2024, and now going into 2025, I think he is ready to really take on a larger role, not just as a wide receiver, but of course in special teams, then make sure you drop a 19 down below in the comment section. Now, some other rule changes were passed today, and I want to go through those rule changes because obviously they impact all 32 teams. Everyone plays on the same field with the same officials, but I think some of these rule changes impact some teams more than other teams, like the kickoff rules. So, the next one was both teams will possess the ball in overtime. This is an example of I don't think this has a big benefit for Denver over the Chiefs or anything like that. I tried to do some research on coin flipping stats. How good was Denver at calling heads or tails? And if they were really good at it, then they probably don't want it to change because, previously they were getting the ball and then they were not giving the other team an opportunity to score. But that was just a rabbit hole I was not going to go down. And also, Denver hasn't played a lot of overtime games the last 3-4 years. So there's that. I think from a football standpoint, it's a good rule. It'd be nice to see both offenses take the field in overtime. Now, before we look at the other rule changes, and wink, wink, the Chiefs are going to be implicated in one of these rule changes, make sure you subscribe because we are racing our Chiefs Report channel here at Chat Sports in subscribers leading up to the 2025 NFL Draft. So we got a nice 0-0 start for both teams. We're at the starting gates. It's post time. Let's take down the Chiefs Report in subscribers this month. This next rule, I don't think Kansas City will be too fond of. And this is the hater coming out of me. But replay assist will now be permitted. This and the kickoff rule change were probably the two most highlighted changes that came out of all these rule switcheroos. So let's break down what it actually means. So this year, replay assist will be allowed to chime in and reverse flags for the following 5 and only 5 penalties: defenseless players, face masks, horse collars, tripping, and running into / roughing the kicker. So if you feel like the Chiefs have always gotten the benefit of the doubt, they've gotten the hometown whistle at times, this is a rule change that maybe they're not going to love. They're going to say that they like it, but you and I know the Chiefs always seem to get the benefit of the doubt from the officiating. I'm not going to go as far to say that this is going to drastically change things for Kansas City because if you notice, it did not include roughing the passer. And that's the rule that everyone's upset that the Chiefs always get the call for Mahomes for. That's not changing. The referee god cannot chime down with a bolt of lightning and say that is not roughing the passer on Patrick Mahomes. Pick up that penalty. No. In fact, the referee god can't even come down and throw a flag if he wanted to. The replay assist can only chime in when a penalty was thrown. So if you all remember last year on Thursday night when the Vikings played the Rams and the Rams defensive end, Byron Young, got a handful of Sam Darnold's face mask and everyone's like, face mask, but they missed it. Yeah, even with this new rule change, replay assist can't come in and throw a penalty. They can only pick up a penalty if one should not have been called. But they can't actually bring out a penalty that was not called initially. So hopefully this is just like the start of eventually they will be able to throw penalties for Sam Darnold examples, and they will include roughing the passer because sometimes it's just BS, the calls that Mahomes and other quarterbacks get. Before we check out the last rule change brought on today, make sure you hang out with us here for the NFL Draft as we are going to have great free live coverage, and you can wear a Broncos draft hat, the 2025 Denver Broncos draft hat, which with I think the Rocky Mountain emblem is like top 5. So go to chatsports.com/DEN hat. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. So if you want to get some more Broncos gear in your closet for the draft, chatsports.com/DEN. Oh, DEN draft. DEN draft. My mistake. Fifth and final rule change, Hawkeye technology implemented for ball spotting. This was something that was talked about a few months ago, and the NFL has finally decided, more than a few months ago, I think it was first brought up a year ago, but the Sony Hawkeye technology, which you're probably most familiar with when watching tennis, is now going to be implemented in the NFL as the primary method for measuring the line to gain. Important to look at that wording right there. Measuring the line to gain. I still believe the chain crew is going to be the one spotting the ball, but I believe the Hawkeye technology will come in and go, yes, they got to the first down marker, or no, they didn't. I'm sure the technology is capable of this, but I am fascinated to see how will Hawkeye technology have X-ray vision to look through players when everyone's bunched up at the goal line and you can't tell if the ball got to the end zone, broke the plane. That's going to be a fun wrinkle to learn about. But a couple of important details there. Getting to the line to gain, not, hey, the runner was down at the 33.5-yard line, spot the ball here. That, I believe, is still going to be done by the chain gang. This stuff does take a little bit of extra reading, and there could be some fluidity to this, so things could change. But for now, that's how I'm interpreting this new rule. All right, before we sign off, as always, we like to end our videos with Name a Random Blank, and I thought we'd do Name a Random NFL Ref. So, I feel like everyone knows a couple. I've got one. Let's see if you can name one, and we'll see if we say the same referee. Count down from 3, 2, 1. Bill Vanovich. I don't think I pronounced the last name correctly, but he's done some Super Bowls. Bill Vanovich? It's not Vanovich. Anyway, Bill Itch. That's my random ref. So I'll go. I thought about going with Ed Hockley, but I felt like that'd be too mainstream. So go with Bill. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you all later.